3.
Okay, so now that we have cut our bevels and we have functional ailerons, right? We're also going to cut a bevel on the tail piece, right? We're going to cut a bevel on the rudder. Now on all of these bevels, start with the straight edge on the side of the paper, right? So the paper gets your full size and the back cut goes on the back, right? So put the paper down, put your straight edge down, and then bevel. That's going to be, in all cases, that's going to be how we do this. Your big piece, your fuselage, which you should not have cut in half yet. Also, do not notch this piece out yet, right? You're going to put a bevel at the end of that as well. This will eventually mate to this, and I changed my mind. On this one, put the bevel on the other side. Everything else, put it on the side of the paper, but on this one, put it on the other side. This one's backwards. How is that for screwy? Okay, good to know. So, and I guess good practice in general is before you cut the bevels, line up the pieces that connect to each other. So we did the ailerons, right? When you do your rudder, line it up and it'll be pretty hard to screw up. I would show you the elevator, except some goblins took it. We can't find it, so we're cutting a new one. So after you've got all those set up and glued, the next important piece is taking this. This is your 3mm carbon rod. Yeah, this is a rod. You can use a tube also. I meant to order the tubes, but I got rods instead. It's okay. We added like half a gram to our plane. I think we'll live. So we want to get this into the wing so that it looks like this. You see how this looks? Now, I don't have any extras that still need this done. So instead, I'm going to show you the procedure on a spare piece, right? The idea is you got this template, see, and it starts out without this big slit in the middle. This is what happens at the end. We're going to take this and we're going to lay it across the wing, okay? And we're going to secure it with pins, just like normal. This is exactly how it was when you cut it out. It may still be here. You may not have even removed it when you glued these things together. Doesn't matter, no big deal. You're going to pin it in place. You're going to take your straight edge. You need a longer straight edge for this one. This is it's at least 2 feet. I don't know, we could measure it. This is, oh wow, it's exactly 2 feet. I'm good. Okay, so we're going to put this down right on the line. And we're going to take our razor blade, and you want to take your razor blade, and when we cut down, we're still going to hold it vertical. We're only going to go down about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16 of an inch. You're going to follow that thing all the way down to the end, all right, and then square it up, and then you're going to scoot it to the other line, right, and you're going to do the same thing about 1/8 of an inch down, all the way down. My little boy just informed me he came back from a walk, so that, thank you, Jake. So we're going to cut both sides, and then after that's done, we're going to have a slot on each side and then a piece of foam that we don't want there right in the middle, okay? So I'm going to show you how we remove that. On this scrap piece of foam, we are going to cut 2 slots. So this was my crappy razor blade. I'm going to get rid of it so that I'm not tempted to use it again, because once you just don't even bother. Once the razor blade starts to pull a little bit, switch the blade, grab a new one, whatever. These guys that we ordered from Hobby King, it's like 99 cents for 10 of them. These guys are fantastic. They do a great job. We had some guys bring in some more expensive razor blades from Menards. They looked, I think, like this, and brand new blades were already pulling at the foam. It was really bad. The Walmart ones did okay though, but none of them did as good as these super cheap Hobby King knives. I don't know, these guys, these did a great job. So for this, I'm gonna grab this marker here. I'm gonna pretend that this marker is my stencil line, so it's got a little bit of thickness to it, right? And we're going to try and make that guy disappear in our foam. So we're going to line it up so that our blade just barely touches one side of it. And we're going to go down, remember, about an 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch. Hold it at a constant depth, a constant angle. If you have a good straight edge, you can sort of rest the lip of your razor blade along the, so this ledge here, I'm resting it right on my my straight edge. Now when you come up to the end, you're going to square up. Don't go any deeper, but square up as you come up just to finish that cut, right? You'll just sort of square up at the end. Now there's a scrap piece of foam, so I get to cheat and go all the way through, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay, now that side's done. I need to do the other side. So I'm going to scoot this over to the other side of the line and hold it down. We're going to do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to come through, and I'm just barely going into the foam. And again, this should be a very, very low effort cut. If you're sticking and pulling, your razor is not sharp, so get a new razor. Now from here, there's a couple of things. I can try crisscrossing just barely to have a piece of that come out. This is sort of dangerous and maybe a little bit more advanced because you can cut too far. But this helps it, so this guy here now sort of digs out a little bit easier. Still not super easy though, right? You don't have to make that cut. It makes it maybe a little bit easier to get this out if you're really, really good with your depth. The thing about doing that, when you go in, it's a lot easier to go in too far when you're coming in like this and you don't have a stop than it is when you're going straight down. So for new people, I like to tell them just to go straight down. Anyway, even if I hadn't just done that, this foam would come out. Where's this blade? This is our cheap blade. For this piece, you actually don't need that sharp a knife, because all we're doing, it's already been cut out on either side, and we're just taking this knife, and we're just kind of flicking it out, right? We're going down our green line here, and we're flicking out the extra foam, right? It's going to make a little bit of a mess. It's going to throw foam everywhere, okay? If you do this right, when you're all done, oh, that guy came up real easy. And you could do that on the other side too, but it's just as easy to just, I guess for somebody who doesn't have as steady a hand, it's just as easy to just tear this out. And I don't want to go through the whole thing on video here, so I'm going to pretend we just did our whole thing. We're just going to go up to there, do the whole thing on yours. This is just scrap. Okay, now we're going to take this, we're going to take our carbon, we're going to clean out the excess, because we cut it just wide for this, so it makes a great great little scoop, squeegee, whatever you want to call it. Alright, we're going to flick all the junk out, and we've got this nice little channel here. Can you see that channel? Okay, and the idea is that channel is just barely deep enough for this 3mm rod to sit in and be flush or close to flush. If it's sticking up a little bit, that's okay. If it's down a little bit too far, that's okay too. Okay, so you're gonna do this, and when you do that, when you finish it, your carbon bar is too long. This is 1 meter in length. We only need 24 inches. You need to cut it. The best way for you to cut this is probably with a hacksaw. I'm not going to demonstrate that because it's fairly easy to do. And actually, anybody who doesn't have access to a hacksaw, I'll probably give you some pre-cut ones so that you don't have to cut it and make it a little bit easier just for this piece. Your other carbon you're going to cut yourself. So when you got your channel cut and when you got your carbon cut, you're going to take your glue, and I'm not going to show you this because I don't have a piece to glue and I don't want to ruin some carbon either. But you're gonna fill that that channel with glue, and I mean, not you want to put you want to be generous with the glue, but you don't want to completely fill the channel, right? You want a narrow bead all the way down the channel, and then when you take your carbon, you're going to smooth all that glue into the channel, right? If you have too much, then there will be a whole bunch of glue spilling over on the sides. If you don't have enough, then it'll sort of look dry, and you'll notice. You want it to be very moist all the way. You want to get that whole channel, the whole surface area, pretty well saturated with glue. When that's done, you're going to put your carbon in. Try and give it a little twist to, you know, kind of get it to really mesh in with that glue. And then you're going to take another bead of glue. You're going to put it on top, right? Just enough to cover it, and you're going to take your nice little squeegee here, and you're going to squeegee that glue all the way down. If you have a little extra, go on the other side and squeegee it back in, right? If you have tons extra, just take it and throw it in the trash. You'll be fine. But if you just apply a reasonable amount of glue, you probably won't have any extra, or you'll have a little bit that you can just push the other way, and it's gone into the foam. Then get the glue off your fingers, you're done. When you're done, this is what it looks like. So you put the glue in, and you get a piece of this strapping tape, right? I will bring a roll of this into work so that you can look at it and make sure that you're buying the right stuff. We had 14 people show up today, and we gave them a Walmart description of what to buy, every single one of them, and out of 14 people, all of them bought some kind of tape. Only one of them actually bought strapping tape. So if you need a reference, this is what it looks like. It's got these fibers in it. Let's see if I open it up here. I don't have any fingernails. Here we go. So you see those little fiberglass strips? They're all just aligned. There's more expensive stuff. Somebody actually did find the more expensive stuff, which was really fat. You only need the little 3/4 inch one. And the really fat one, they had the crisscrosses too. Now that's expensive tape, and it's really good, and you can use it on other pieces of your plane, but it's not necessary. This cheap, you know, Home Depot or Walmart, they may even carry it at the dollar store, I don't know. This just fiberglass strapping tape is all that you need. Take a piece, cut it just longer than your carbon, put it across the whole thing, smooth it down, and you're done and ready to move on to the next step. Okay, we're now almost ready to glue together your profile. Okay, this is not the whole plane, this is just the flat part that lies in the plane. First off, this is your nose. Okay, there's 3 holes here, or 3 marks for holes on your template. If you're using a center aileron to control, or excuse me, one servo to control both ailerons together, cut out the middle. If you want separate servos for each aileron, then 1, you should have ordered smaller servos, and 2, don't cut out the middle, cut out the sides. Do cut out this piece here for any configuration. That's on your. This is on your fuselage. This guy goes here, and then your big nose piece, which I think we lost it. We'll find it later. When you cut this out, if you have the center servos, then you'll cut this piece, right? So there's one on top and one on bottom. And in the back, I thought there was a hole for a servo in the back. Oh, I'm sorry. This guy here, when you cut this out, cut this hole out, then flip it over and cut it out on the other side. This will give you 1 servo on each side. One will do the elevator and one will do the rudder. This particular print did not mark where to cut out the servo hole for the rudder, so we're just going to put it next to the elevator servo. No big deal. Just flip this guy over, cut it out, and continue. So we're up to that point right now, and in just a minute I'll show you how to glue these 3 pieces together. Alright? Alright, we are ready to glue together our profile now after getting everything set up. So we still want to keep our templates handy, right? We've got this guy still. What we're going to do, this actually doesn't need to be pinned anymore, so I'm going to pull the pins out. I got my wing template here too. Of course, I'm making a huge mess here. Okay, so I got everything set. Now, what's important, if you notice on these prints, you see the dotted lines there? Those dotted lines are there to help you line these pieces up. That's actually where the top part of the fuselage is going to connect onto this flat here, and it's going to help us to line everything up. So I'm taking this and I'm making marks. I'm just going along with those dotted lines just on each side. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do the same thing. And here. And then we're going to repeat that on our wings, top and bottom, on our fuselage, and actually on this guy it's not terribly important, because if you screw up this alignment you have much more serious problems. So we can put that aside. Once we've marked both sides, we won't need these templates anymore. We can put them aside. I'm pretty sure you won't need them. I guess don't throw them away, but put them aside. And we can get ready to glue. So this glue, that lid really dries on there if you're not careful about how you clean this thing up. But first of all, this piece here, so when we look at this, that's a pretty flat piece. It's going to butt up pretty well, but it's got this little chunk out of it. It looks fairly good, but it's off enough that I'm going to clean it up to make it just mesh a little bit better. To do that, I'm just going to take about the same amount off the front and back. Hopefully I keep my marks. Going to keep my blade vertical. Alright, and when we're done, now it's a nice, clean, flat cut that when we mesh, now there's no gaps, right? Yeah, so meshes up real nice. This guy, same deal, you want to check it. This one actually is good. Down here, it is not. Actually, these have reverse bevels, so they made up, and we're good. And this one is close enough that I don't even have to mark this side, but I should mark this side. Mark that. Okay, so got everything is going to made up nice. We checked our surfaces. We're going to put a big gob of glue across here. It's starting to dry up. I'm getting gobs in here. That's okay. That's what happens when you don't put the lid on your glue. So I got a good gob on here. I'm just going to touch these two together just to get the glue on both of them, right? I'm touching them together, and look at that mess when it's falling apart, alright? I'm trying to catch most of that. Again, I've got my expensive squeegee here. I'm just gonna squeegee that on, rub it in. The reason that you squeegee it in and rub it in is the foam or the glue will actually create little tendrils into the empty spaces in the foam that'll grab better and just make a really, really good, secure, strong bond. So we're going to do that on both sides. We're going to stick these together. Okay. When we stick them together, if we had a really, really, really good flat cut on our mating edges, then that'll just hold together there without any effort at all, and you don't even need to tape it. Now, realistically, if this is your first plane, you probably won't quite get that, and you'll have a little bit of a gap. If that happens, that's okay. Just take some of this tape, right? And we're actually going to wait. We're going to do our other piece first, too. So let's do this one. Okay. Fair amount of glue. Not too much, but enough to sort of glob it on there a little bit. And that's going to mark how far I need to smear it there. And I'm going to make sure I got enough that it really smears in. If it feels dry, you didn't use enough glue, so get some more glue. Smear it in real good. We're going to come back over here. We're going to smear this in. Same deal. If it feels dry, you didn't use enough glue. You won't if you use just enough, you won't have puddles, and it'll feel nice and wet, but you won't have puddles. So here we are. We're going to squish this together. Now, we have really, really good mating edges, so there's hardly any force that's required at all here. But, again, a lot of you probably won't achieve that your first time, so we're gonna put just a little bit of pressure across both of these and take a piece of tape and just barely a little bit of pressure. Now, notice that bowed it up a little bit. It's okay. We're going to take care of that in just a second. So we're going to cut this other piece. We're going to do the same thing. Pull this in just a little bit, not too much. If it bows a lot, then you probably stretched it too tight. You just need enough to hold pressure, holding it in, okay? Now I'm going to take this whole thing here, and I'm going to flip it over. When I do this, I'm going to get more tape for the other side. Glue this guy here. And we're going to make this just tight enough that it lays flat. And again, we're going to make the other side just tight enough that it lays flat. So now we're laying flat. We're going to flip this back over where we were. We're going to glue this piece here. Now this piece, you want a good edge here, here, and here. All three of those need to line up well. Now, this time, if you screwed up this edge and put a bevel or had it cut funny, if you try to straighten it up, when you go to put this together, you're going to have a gap here, right? Don't do that. If you do screw up this edge and you need to straighten it out, you're going to have to recut this piece, and when you cut it out, just leave a little bit extra in there to compensate for your screw up. It'll be fine. So we're going to glue this guy in. This is exactly the same as up here. We're just going to take our glue, goober it in. Alright, and then we're just going to smash these guys together here. That's not bad. Smear that in there. Okay, we smeared that pretty good. So again, it should just feel wet. You shouldn't see any puddles. And it shouldn't feel dry. Okay. Okay. Now, mine, again, everything just fit really nice. Look at how nice that fits in. Yours might not look like that. Yours might kind of be pulling away or not exactly just meshing the way you think that it should. That's okay. We're going to do the same thing we did up here on the wings. We're going to just put a little piece of tape across it on both sides. One tip, when you're cutting your tape, don't use the same razor blade to cut your tape that you use to cut your foam, because pieces of adhesive will get stuck on your razor blade, and then even though your razor blade is sharp, the foam will stick to it and it won't cut very well, and it'll ruin your razor blade. So this is one that's already ruined. We're going to use it to cut the tape. We've been using it to cut the tape, I guess. I just haven't made mention of it. And right here, we're just going to take this and we're going to pull this in just a little tiny bit. Right, and again, it just barely bows it up. And that's okay, because we're going to go to the other side and we're going to compensate. Do this right here. Pull that in. Tape it flat. You're good. Alright, this is your flat profile. You'll notice that one of my ailerons is sticking just a little tiny bit. That's not a big deal. Before we finish, we can come in with a little straight edge. I can't find my little straight edge, so I'll show you with this. We're just going to take this straight edge and we're going to give it, I don't know, maybe a millimeter, maybe 2 millimeters. And we are going to just shave out this little piece here. And now it doesn't stick anymore. You can do this after the plane is assembled too. It's easier when it's a flat profile. And I think I missed just a little bitty speck right there. I'll just get that. This side is okay, so we'll leave that. And we can proceed to the next piece. That's right. Probably remember this guy that we put aside earlier. We're going to work with this guy now. So by now you've already cut your bevel. After you cut your bevel, you cut out this guy here, and you cut out your servo hole if you're doing a single servo to control your ailerons. And now we've got this line down the middle, right? We're going to split this. Now when we split this, half is going to go on the top, so we're going to have a mating edge all the way down here, and we're going to have a mating edge all the way down here. When we're done with this step here, this is what your plane will look like. This is the top half, this is the bottom half. Now, just like when we put these three pieces together, those the quality of the edge that I cut here will determine how well these mesh together and how hard a time I have getting them to make a good solid glue bond. What we want is a really, really straight edge perpendicular to the plane of the table that traces out this line. So I'm going to get some of these pins out of my way. I'm going to get my big straight edge, and we're going to line this up. Make sure your template does not drift. So if you've got it pinned, that'll help. But you're going to have to remove pins to get your straight edge in there. Okay, so now we got this guy aligned. Now we've been using hobby knives, little bitty hobby knives, to do a lot of our cuts. This one is easier to do with a good old-fashioned box cutter if you have a brand new blade. You can get these at Menards, Walmart, Target, wherever. Just make sure you have a brand new blade. A lot of them, when you open them up, they'll have extra blades inside. Brand new blade, that's the important part, alright? Now when you take your straight edge, my straight edge is kind of fat. See, it's got this big surface here. That's going to help me out. Yours might not be. If you're really at a loss of what to do, like if you're just having a hard time making these cuts, you can get a block of wood and take one of these razors and find a way to clamp it onto it so that the block of wood will hold your razor in the right position, and then you can just slide it along your straight edge. If you're having a really, really hard time getting that edge to be nice, that's kind of your ultimate tool to make sure that you get a nice flat edge. So for me, I've got a good flat straight edge, and I've got a big fat blade on my box cutter. I'm going to retract this a little bit. I'm going to hold it nice and flat against my straight edge, right? And I'm just going to drag it along, right? And if I'm careful, this does not take much effort. It's fairly easy to keep it vertical. You just keep a little bit of pressure against your straight edge to keep it from wobbling. You don't want it to go back and forth. That would be bad. And just hardly any force down. It just cuts itself. Very, very sharp blade. Go right through it. And when we're done... Oh, jeez. I guess we should have stayed on the line. I missed the line. That's not that big a deal. It just means that this plane's tail will be slightly narrower than everybody else's plane, but we'll make it work. And actually, I'm not even off by that much. The paper shifted. I'm sorry.
Maybe it was not pinned correctly.
That's probably it. I screwed it up. That's actually okay. This will be fine. I'm just going to trim this out. Are you still recording?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just trim this out. This is Geetika's plane. She's looking at me with the evil eye right now. How dare you make my plane asymmetric? All right, no, it'll be a little bit taller in the tail and a little bit shorter underneath. These planes don't require super precision, so that'll be okay. So I'm just here. There's a couple of just missteps. Somebody when they cut this, they were sawing, and so there's a couple of just little pieces that are just not flat. If you just drag the razor, you get a much cleaner edge. But I mean, this actually looks. They did a decent job for what they had. I think they had a pretty dull razor, so I can't fault them too much. I'm just gonna clean this up. You can do this afterwards too. I probably shouldn't be doing this on video. It's a waste of time. So after we've got this set, we got all our holes cut out. It is time to glue. Okay. So look at this. Look at our profile here. If we did this right, we have the underside of our bevels on one side, on both. See, this is beveled down. We haven't glued our tail to it yet. We'll glue our tail later, or our elevator, I mean. And on the other side, it's flat. So we have our flat part. This flat part is the top, okay? Now, although it doesn't matter terribly which side you make the top and which side you make the bottom, this cutout at the bottom here, so if I put the one that's made for the bottom on the top here, it won't line up right with well, okay, I guess it will because I fudged this one, but it shouldn't. When I put it on the bottom,